In the Stormlands, King Renly Baratheon is assassinated by the shadow brought into the world by Melisandre and fathered by Stannis Baratheon just after agreeing to an alliance with King Robb Stark. His Kingsguard Brienne is mistakenly blamed for the death, and she flees the camp with Catelyn Stark. Brienne later swears fealty to Catelyn. Renly's army disintegrates, with the forces of House Tyrell fleeing to Highgarden, and the rest of his bannermen joining his brother King Stannis. Lord Petyr Baelish accompanies the Tyrell faction, sensing an opportunity to sway them to Joffrey's side. Esser Davos Seaworth challenges King Stannis on his use of Melisandre's magic, and convinces him to leave Melisandre behind when they attack King's Landing, to quash rumors of her influence on him. Stannis places Davos in command of his fleet. When he is alone in his tent, Stannis briefly fights against Tyrs, showing he does in fact grieve for his younger brother. In King's Landing, Hand of the King Tyrion Lannister brings news of Renly's death to his sister, Queen Regent Cersei Lannister. She is pleased, but Tyrion predicts Stannis' imminent attack. He tries to discuss plans for their defense, but she insists on keeping them secret. From his spy, his cousin, Esser Lancel Lannister, Tyrion learns that Cersei has been having extensive meetings with the Alchemists Guild. He visits Wisdom Hallen of the Guild, and learns that they have stockpiled thousands of jars of wildfire, a dangerously flammable substance to use as catapult ammunition. Bronn warns that this strategy could be disastrous, and result in panicking defenders accidentally burning down their own city. Tyrion orders Hallen to answer to him instead of Cersei. Tyrion also passes a street protest that blames him for the ills of the city, as they believe Tyrion to be manipulating Joffrey. At Lordsport, Theon Greyjoy takes command of his new ship and finds his crew insubordinate. His first mate Dagmar tells him that he needs to prove himself to the men, and Theon plans to raid Torrhen's Square to draw the remaining forces of House Stark from Winterfell. His plan is successful, and Esser Roderick Castle leads a force of 200 men to relieve his siege of Torrhen's Square. At Winterfell, Bran Stark provides well-judged counsel to his subjects but continues to be troubled by his dreams. He discusses dreaming of a three-eyed raven with the wildling woman Osha, but she declines to interpret the dream. He also confides dreaming of the sea flooding Winterfell and drowning his people, including Esser Roderick. At Harrenhal, Tywin Lannister hosts a protracted war council to determine a new strategy to deal with Robb. Arya Stark serves as his cupbearer. Though he does not know who she really is, Tywin realizes that she is of northern extraction and questions her about her origins and opinions regarding Robb. She manages to avoid revealing her true identity. She leaves to fetch water and encounters Jaqen H'ghar, now a Lannister man-at-arms. Jaqen says that because she saved his life and those of his two fellow prisoners, he owes her 3 deaths and offers to kill 3 people of her choosing. She targets the Tickler, Esser Gregor Clegane's torturer. The Tickler is soon found dead in the courtyard, his neck twisted 180 degrees. Arya notices Jaqen on the walkway above, and he holds a single finger to his face to signify his responsibility. At the Fist of the First Men, Lord Commander Jeor Mormont leads his ranging to the ancient Fist of the First Men to rendezvous with the experienced scout Qhorin. Qhorin arrives and warns Jeor that they must change their tactics to combat the wildling army under King Beyond the Wall, Mance Rayder. He suggests sending a small party ahead to neutralize Mance's lookouts in the Skirling Pass. Jon Snow joins Qhorin's group, while Samwell Tarly takes his task as the steward of the Lord Commander. In Qarth, Daenerys Targaryen has taught her dragons to breathe fire on command, and they are now capable of sharing and eating meat on their own. She is enjoying the hospitality of the wealthy noble Xaro Khon Daxus in the city of Qarth. He hosts a gathering in her honor in the gardens of his home. She is perturbed by the tricks of the warlock Pyat Pree, who invites her to visit the House of the Undying. The masked woman Quaithe delivers an enigmatic warning to Esser Jorah Mormont about Daenerys' need for protection from those who lust after her dragons. Xaro offers to fund Daenerys' invasion of Westeros in exchange for her hand in marriage. Later, she seeks Jorah's advice about the proposal, and he cautions against accepting financial aid. Renly Baratheon. Renly is the third and youngest son of Steffon and Cassana Baratheon. Steffon was the head of House Baratheon and Lord Paramount of the Stormlands. The Stormlands are one of the constituent regions of the Seven Kingdoms, and House Baratheon is one of the great houses of the realm. Renly has two older brothers, Robert and Stannis. Their parents died when the boys were young, and Robert inherited his father's titles. Robert led a rebellion against King Aerys II Targaryen, deposing and replacing him as the king of the Andals and the First Men. He made Renly the Lord of Storm's End following his victory. Renly was only a child during the Civil War, so he did not fight. At some point, Selwyn Tarth held a ball on Tarth in hopes of arranging a match for his daughter, Brienne. However, many of the suitors feigned attraction to Brienne. She was alerted of this when she spotted some of them laughing. In hopes of saving her reputation, Renly took Brienne in his arms and danced with her, leaving the suitors speechless due to Renly's high status. From this point on, Brienne would be forever loyal to Renly. Renly serves Robert as Master of Laws on the King's Small Council in King's Landing. He is fourth in line to the throne, behind his nephews Joffrey and Tommen and his older brother Stannis. Renly is popular at court because of his friendly manner and keen fashion sense. Renly has been involved in a homosexual romance with Esser Loras Tyrell for many years. They must keep their love a secret because the dominant religion of the realm, the Faith of the Seven, considers homosexuality to be a sin. Although many people are nonetheless aware of their relationship as something of an open secret. Renly greets Eddard Stark, whom he knew when younger, upon his arrival at King's Landing. Renly is the only member of the small council whom Eddard greets warmly. Renly agrees with Eddard's assessment that his brother Robert's profligate spending is damaging the realm. Renly irritates Commander Janos Slynt by questioning his competence to command the City Watch if he cannot keep the peace. Nonetheless, Ned gives Slynt the resources he requires. Renly bets on his notoriously known secret lover, Esser Loras Tyrell, to win a joust against Esser Gregor Clegane. He wins a significant sum of money from Littlefinger. Then they mock each other. Renly asks Littlefinger if he has a friend. Littlefinger retorts by asking when Renly will be having his friend, pointing at Loras. Later, in the small council, Renly supports Robert's proposed assassination of Daenerys Targaryen, following news of her pregnancy by Khal Drogo. Loras suggests that Renly claim the Iron Throne for himself, and offers the support of the rich and powerful House Tyrell. Renly points out that he is fourth in line to the throne, behind his two nephews and his older brother, Stannis. Loras counters that Robert claimed the throne through strength of arms alone, and asserts that the realm will not follow Joffrey because he is a monster, Tommen because he is too young, or Stannis who has the personality of a lobster. Renly goes hunting with Robert and his retinue. He quarrels with Robert over his glorification of warfare, and Robert's needling him about how many girls he has slept with. In Robert's words, simpler times, which were in fact more bloody than he is willing to admit. Renly calls him a fool, and remarks that the past had its share of violence that Robert is conveniently ignoring. Renly storms off, leaving Esser Barristan to look on concerned, as Lancel keeps up King Robert's wine supply on Cersei's orders. This causes Robert to reel from his excessive consumption of wine, and subsequently, he is later fatally gored by a wild boar. Upon the royal party's return to King's Landing, Renly informs Eddard of Robert's fatal wounding. As Robert lays dying, Renly suggests to Eddard that they take Joffrey prisoner and hold him hostage to neutralize House Lannister and allow Renly to seize the throne. Eddard believes this to be treason, instead supporting Stannis' claim to the throne. Renly protests his elder brother's unsuitability to rule, and warns Ned that delay only allows Cersei to strengthen her position, but Eddard insists he will not dishonor Robert's final hours by taking children prisoner and shedding blood in the castle. Later, Eddard hears from Varys that Renly and Loras have fled the city with some 50 retainers. At the Lannister camp, Kevin reports that both Renly and Stannis have laid claim to the throne. Elsewhere, Robb Stark rejects Jonos Bracken's suggestion they side with Renly and is instead declared king in the north by his bannermen.